Hey guys, this is LilithMind, relationship advice. Thank you for joining me on my secondary channel. Today I'm going to respond to one of my subscribers, Miss Angela Toussaint. Thank you so much for this comment. As I was reading it and I was thinking about my response to her, I started laughing for some reason. I'll share with you guys why I started laughing. So Angela said, and again, thank you again for Angela. I agree with your point. So Angela says, okay, I'm not a fan of Arion, but a woman who has experienced personally a narcissistic man in my past, it took me 3 years to date after I escaped the mental and physical abuse, which I agree. And I addressed this in my video, saying that if you're dealing with somebody with MPD, of course you're going to be depressed. And I did say that in that commentary, but she said, I'm also a woman that has mental illness in my family, including suicide. The problem in the Black community, the reason why we don't seek help is because it is viewed as a weakness or we're not believed at all. But Arion is not going to get help on social media. She can get help in her personal life by not posting it on social media. How is her posting her mental health issues on social media going to get her psychiatric help? She has access to resources and information, especially as someone who was working in the medical field or who was going to school to be a nurse. She knows what she has to do to get help. So her coming to social media is not going to be an effective way for her to get treatment. Okay, that's something else. If you're really mentally ill, in my opinion, a lot of mentally ill people don't express these things, not because they are ashamed of it or they're just so in such a dark place. They're kind of in hermit mode and they don't really want to connect to anybody on the outside world. I've suffered from depression before and I didn't want to talk to anybody about anything. I just wanted to be in my own little space. I wanted to heal. I was not going to be sharing my feelings and my experiences on social media without getting psychiatric help. So I'm not saying that she's not depressed because she went on social media. I'm saying that social media is not a way for you to get psychiatric counseling. Actually, it just makes the situation worse because people are going to attack you for your condition. So her sharing this is, to me, not as innocent as some people would want to believe. I have long suspected that Arion has suffered from mental illness before she even posted this. If you listen to my original channel, The Wounded Womb, Mind of Lilith, I talk about her personality disorder and her mental issues as one of the reasons why Martel couldn't let her go, because he could manipulate her as a result of this. So I'm aware of that. It's just that, I started laughing because you know how you have little kids, right? And they start arguing because one child is staring at the other and the other child says, Mommy, they're staring at me. The staring isn't doing anything to hurt the child, but the act of being looked at, the act of somebody looking at them and then the child can't control the person staring at them, it really aggravates children. I know you guys have heard of this even as you're growing up. Or if you have children or siblings, like the whole staring game, when one sibling or one child would stare at the other and say nothing, right? I feel like Melody being on her reality show is like staring at Arion. Like her success and her ability to thrive is staring at Arion in her face. So Arion is kind of mad that Melody refused to die or roll over and die after she tried to destroy her. So that's like somebody shooting at someone, right? To kill them. And then when that person doesn't die, they're mad at the person for having the audacity to survive the attack. Like, that's what I feel like Arion and Martel are doing to Melody. Like, how dare you not die after I tried to destroy your life? How dare you not roll over and break down and get rid of everything that you value, including your show? How dare you hold on to your integrity and your beauty and your ambition and your intellect? And, even though I try to take all that from you, like, the idea of Melody actually thriving and surviving is irritating as hell to Martel and Arion. So it's funny to me because they tried to break her, and Arion is mad because Melody can't be broken, because Melody isn't doing anything to Arion, Melody isn't saying anything to Ariane. She's not addressing her directly. She's not mentioning her name. She's just talking about her experience. But for some reason, that is so aggravating to somebody who doesn't want to be on the show. It's like, how dare you talk about your experiences where I've interjected myself into your marriage, right? It causes you to get a divorce. How dare you talk about that on the show that you've created without having me on the platform in order to make money off of the pain that I caused you? How dare you not allow me to benefit from the pain that I've caused you as a result of my behavior? So it's hard for a lot of us to have a certain level of sympathy for Ariane, because you don't have sympathy for people with mental illness. That's not it. But a lot of times the whole mental illness thing is used to control and manipulate people, not because they don't actually have that mental illness, but because they're using their illness to control people around them. So, for example, somebody cheats all the time, someone is abusive verbally, someone puts their hands on you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. That's the excuse they use. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again. That's not good enough. We have to hold these people accountable for their behavior, but do it with some empathy and compassion by at first acknowledging their problem, right? So we're acknowledging it by saying, okay, she has a mental health problem and there's depression. Of course she's depressed dealing with a narcissist, just like Melody was depressed dealing with a narcissist and his narcissistic side piece that was abusing her as well. So Melody got it from both sides. She got it from her husband and his mistress, who is now complaining about experiencing the same thing that she put Melody through? Really? Ariane has lost a whole lot less than Melody did. Yet Ariane is the one complaining the most about what's happening to her. So she's being silenced. How is she being silenced as she's talking? Who is silencing her? Martell? Maybe it's Martell is saying, don't talk about this because you're going to make B and you look bad. That's what she's talking about. I don't think she's talking about Melody. What happened to the book that she was supposed to be putting out? The only person I could think of that will be silencing her is Martell. That's not Melody's fault. That's her fault. So now Martell is treating Ariane the way that he treated Melody. Don't talk about our dirt and our business in public. Keep that in-house. It doesn't matter how I treat you. Keep our business out the street. You see what he did to Melody when she broke the rules, right? When she broke protocol and she did what she wanted to do for herself. You see how he treated her. Ariane doesn't want to have to deal with that. And she's financially dependent on him. So she definitely ain't going to say nothing. So that is a part of her mental illness and her depression. Not being able to tell the truth and being in an abusive relationship. But how is that Melody's fault? Stop blaming Melody for what Martell is doing to you, as you have been for the past 5, 6, 7 years. When you were texting Melody to control her man, blaming her for her man cheating on her. Like, there's so many layers to this, which is one of the reasons why the content creators in the community are not as sympathetic to Ariane, because she hasn't shown any remorse. Not to say she's not mentally ill or depressed. We're not doing that. We are acknowledging that. Some of us are acknowledging that. But the cause of it is not Melody. That's my point. Stop blaming somebody else for your current disposition, especially if you're not going to call out Martell. Martell and Ariane do not talk about each other at all because they have an agreement, whether it's silent, a written agreement, or a verbal agreement. It doesn't matter. Neither of them talk about each other on social media directly. That's something that I think they have agreed to do because Martell is very paranoid about people talking about him and his business in the public. He wants to keep his abuse private. He wants to keep his mistreatment of the woman in his life private. And when Melody didn't do that, he started to punish her because of that. So he's been down for Ariane, so to speak, because she's kind of been keeping a lot of his secrets behind closed doors. But now that's causing her to be depressed because she can't be honest in order to remove herself from the situation. She's dependent on him emotionally, physically, sexually, financially, mentally. She is attached to him. She needs him. She's dependent on him. She's codependent on him. So she has to now put a muzzle on herself and say, well, I'm depressed because I can't tell my truth. You're not talking about Melody's truth. What other truth is there? You mean the truth that Martell was actually the puppet master behind this whole thing and not Melody that you've been blaming for years? You mean that truth? So, we don't want Ariane to be suffering per se. The issue we have with her, and I've said this before, is not the fact that she had an affair with a married man. It's the fact that she tried to destroy an innocent woman in the process. That is her most egregious offense, in my opinion. It is not about the cheating. That happens all the time. And I've said this on my original channel several times. It's not about just the cheating. It's the way she went about it. It's the way she tried to antagonize a woman who did nothing to her and still does it to this day, and now wants to blame the same woman for her being depressed. Really? So yeah, Angela, I agree with you. I do agree that we have to take mental illness seriously. But are we supposed to take Ariane's mental illness more serious than she does? Are we supposed to treat her in the way that she is not treating herself? Especially if she's still participating in the same activities and staying in the same abusive relationship that is causing her depression. Like, we can't get her out of that situation, especially if she's not honest with herself about what it is and she keeps blaming Melody. We're actually trying to help her find a way out by being honest. I say, listen, apologize to Melody for what you did and see Martell for the monster that he is, instead of blaming Melody for Martell's actions. That shit is insane to me. That's not fair to Melody at all. Most other women would have destroyed Ariane. Physically, emotionally, financially, it would have been a wrap. She got off really light when it comes to Melody. Melody gave her a lot of compassion and grace. Okay? So the fact that Ariane is still attacking Melody and wants to hide behind the mental illness thing, that's not fair. You're not going to be able to throw a rock and hide your hand with mental illness. That's too serious. There are people who are really going through some tough stuff. And I've seen it and experienced it myself. I know how it looks. It doesn't all look the same. It's not textbook as far as everybody who's depressed looks exactly the same. It's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all condition. I get it. But if I'm mentally ill and depressed, I'm not going to go on social media talking about anything. I'm just going to be in a bubble. I went through a very dark period several years ago, even recently. There's no way I would have been talking to anybody about anything, especially on social media. Like, not to say that we all have to show our mental illness the same way or our depression the same way. I'm not saying that at all, but I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I've observed it in other people's lives and how they respond to it. It's not going on social media saying I'm suicidal. Who does that? Except somebody looking for attention. So do you want attention or do you want help? Why are you putting it out there if you're not going to get help? And again, people are not attacking Ariane because of her mental illness per se. They're attacking her because of the way she treated Melody and continues to do so. It all goes back to that. Like, we have sympathy for other women who are going through stuff. We get it. We get it. We understand. Some of us have gone through things. We have the ability to empathize with someone's situation because we've all experienced abusive relationships. We've all experienced toxicity. We know how it looks. Fine. We can have sympathy for someone who's gone through some stuff, but it is difficult to have sympathy for somebody who played a role in destroying an innocent person's life and did so happily without any remorse whatsoever and continues to blame them. It is very difficult to have sympathy for someone like that. I'm sorry. And personality disorder types, NPDs and BPDs, do this all of the time. They destroy people's lives all the time and then want to ask for sympathy when they showed no sympathy for the person they were destroying or trying to destroy. Where's the sympathy for Melody? So she wants us to have sympathy for her, right? Which some of us do. Again, I don't want her to be sick. I don't want her to hurt herself. I don't want her to hurt her children. None of that. I want her to get help. But at the same time, where's your sympathy for Melody and how she's been treated by you and Martell? Where is that? That's not fair. That's not fair. So the public is not going to show a lot of sympathy towards Ariane until she shows sympathy to Melody. It's that simple. It's a two-way street. You cannot expect someone to be sympathetic to you and you are the perpetrator, and you can't even show sympathy to the person that you tried to destroy for years. That is so not fair. All right, Angela, thank you for your comments. I look forward to reading all your comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with me or not. Like, are we minimizing or dismissing or devaluing Arion's illness by holding her accountable for her actions? Or should we just allow her to say and do whatever she wants to Melody and other people who are innocent, and brag about it and then run and hide behind mental illness when it's convenient for her? All right, anyway, I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.